So tonight we're going to talk about docking. This is something that you can do with other flaggers, and it's one thing that I hadn't thought of doing on over Zoom because it's a little awkward. So I have somebody here to help me with that. So if I saw Fiona's right hand, I would raise my left hand, and I would be mirroring Fiona. And then if I were to wave, like do this circle. And this is not exact science because the video quality is going to be different. And we go out maybe with both hands. So this is mirroring. Some people started calling it mirroring and other people started calling it dock. And docking is something that's really fun to do with another person. Usually is done with people that have a little bit more experience because sometimes you have to meet somebody in the middle. So if I'm pinwheeling, and we've talked about this before, knowing how to do both a right hand lead and a left hand lead on your pinwheels. If you are seeing, for example, Fiona and she's doing a right hand lead, I would need to come up to her with a left hand lead to match her with my flags. So I have a video clip. I just happen to be going through some old video clips on my YouTube account, and I found one that Chris Offner had taken in 2019. So here, there's two flaggers that are docking. Notice Marcus is doing Marcus is doing a left hand lead to match the person that is doing a right hand lead in front of him. I don't think Marcus is naturally a left hand lead. So there's the person that switched to match the other person, and they get really right up on each other, and at this point they kind of fall apart laughing. And we're going to come back into another docking move that they start doing here in just a second. So you can do this with a pinwheel, you can do this with flipping cards or Spanish dancer. There's a couple other things that are in between there that I have names for that wouldn't make sense necessarily. So here they are doing kind of a Spanish dancer flipping cards type move, but they're doing them together. I sometimes call these angel's wings and coming together. And I think there's one more. You can see them there. They're not quite together. And I think that's the end of that clip. We're going to try to achieve that. Go ahead, you start. Go ahead. I'm matching you. Pinwheel system. Okay. I'm not quite sure what you're doing. Me too. Can you do this one? How about this one? All right.
No one.
Yes. So this is my short little demo, as silly as it might have been. The first one where we did the pinwheels, I didn't tell Ahmad. I just started kind of walking to the side, facing him, and we turned around. A couple things about docking. If somebody's in the zone, if they're not looking at you, if they're like, don't try to dock with them. You're just going to scare the hell out of them when they open their eyes and see you in front of them. So you want to, if you're walking around and you notice somebody looking at you, you can walk up and match somebody, or you can try. If they're in the zone, you leave them alone so they're in that zone and not pulling them out of that. And then docking can be as simple as going up right next to and pinwheeling together and then turning around and going and pollinating another flower as it may be. Or it can be something where it's more sustained, where you are flagging together. With one of my, in performance, it's very cool to pull that move apart and make it something a little bit more dramatic. So if you have two people that are pinwheeling up together, most people pinwheel and they're kind of flat on the sides, but you can really take your flags back. If you're pinwheeling flat like this, You can pull the flags back. Makes more sense when you have more fabric in your hand and come together. And so then the two flaggers become a different move that when you move from the side becomes kind of like taffy. So it comes together flat and then taffy out. If somebody is coming up to you and they start moving, you don't want to go from, for example, a pinwheel into flipping cards. You want to go with the pinwheel. If you notice, like, for example, my hands start coming out a little bit bigger with the movement, maybe you start moving your hands out a little bit more. Or if you think, wow, we can do something a little bit more with this, you can start turning around, or you can, start pulling your hands further apart. Pinwheels tend to be kind of like right in this area. You can, pull your hands further apart, or do something that's syncopated a little bit more than in other words, start suggesting ideas for your partner to match. And of course, if they're not matching you, don't take it to the next step. Or if you can say, something, let's do, which I told Ahmad, I was like, let's do flipping cards. And we kind of pulled apart and we started doing flipping cards. So you wouldn't expect be right up on somebody and change your motion. You'd go further back, change the motion, wait for them to adjust, and then walk back up to them and start again mirroring, getting closer.
I'm so glad you picked this topic, because for me, it's just something that really warms my heart to see this being part of flagging culture and fanning, to see people playing that way with each other at flagging in the park or at a club. And so it's just really great to hear more about it and have people contribute their comments and their own experiences. So thank you so much, Xavier.
So thank you all for listening. That's the end of my presentation.